Being out here, it always seems so peaceful to me. So I basically grew up in a Christian environment. A verse kind of popped into my head to the effect that just because you go to church every Sunday it doesn't mean that the gates are open and you're free to go into heaven. You know, the door is locked and you may not get into heaven. So later that year, I was attending that church. Anyone who wanted to express their belief in Christ was to go forward. So at that point, I went and made my commitment. I was probably 19 years old, maybe then. That's really how it started for me, is a wake-up call that just going to church is not enough. So weather was sometimes a challenge. Sometimes crew didn't get along, so that was a challenge. We had some mechanical challenges. Smoke had filled the cabin at one point. That was a bit scary. I had a medical emergency where crew had a kidney stone issue, so we had to evacuate him. I thought he had already died. So we called for a helicopter from Faroe Islands to extract him. They tried 3 times and weren't able to extract him, so we had to call a ship from Iceland. And he's okay now, yeah, after the surgery. And then accidentally we spilled all our fresh water and had no fresh water on board except a few cans that we had under reserve. Sailing by nature is a challenge. One challenge as a sailor is that sailors learn to be very independent and self-dependent. And that's a bit of a problem when it comes to faith, because faith is more or less the opposite to that, is to be more dependent on God and less dependent on yourself. Yeah, I think we're all good. Would I cross the Atlantic again? I think if the right opportunity was there, I would probably say yes. Being out here, it always seems so peaceful to me, and crossing the Atlantic was much like that too. I have no problem to sit in one spot and daydream and envision what the future might be, and reflecting on what my life was and what it could be. You could even be sailing and praying at the same time. It's always an opportunity to be undisturbed, and that's the best part about the trip.